You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on Fox Sports 920 The Jersey.
5:15, Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. 609-919-9200 is the telephone number as we come to you live from the Princeton Orthopedic Associates studios on a very busy Monday, recapping the crazy weekend from the National Football League, also college football, and even high school football as well. Let's head out to the hotline right now and welcome in Geoff Collins, the head coach of Temple. Temple 2-3 to start this season. 20-13 loss to Houston this past Saturday at the Link, and the Owls get ready to play ECU on Saturday. So let's welcome in the first-year head coach at Temple University, and that's Geoff Collins. Geoff, appreciate a few minutes. Thanks for the time, and how are you?
Absolutely. Thanks, Zach. I'm doing good.
Well, thank you for coming on. So that's a football game. Your team in the second half, after going down 20-0, you guys show a lot of fight and had a chance to tie the game late. What changed with your team, and how about the way they fought back after going down 20-0?
Yeah, and I've been saying this for a while. We've got a really good football team. We played some really good opponents the first 5 games, and it just finally clicked on all 3 phases of the game. I thought our kicking game, the entire game, was outstanding. They came in with one of the better kickoff teams and one of the better kickoff return teams, in our conference, maybe even in the country. And I thought we did the better job on both phases of that, and in the punt return game. So I thought our special teams won the game. Still -2 in turnover margin. We've got to get that fixed, especially to play such a good opponent that Houston was. But I just thought our kids really fought and really played well as a team, especially in that second half. And if they continue to do that, we're a tough team to beat every single Saturday.
So how do you guys put it together for a full 60 minutes so we could see how good of a team on the field like you think you have there at North Broad Street?
Right. Yeah, the big thing is, I don't know how many times we've started fast. I think we've played some really good fourth quarters, third quarters, even some, you could say, second quarter. I don't know if our best football has been played right out of the gate. That's been the point of emphasis yesterday in the meetings. That'll be the same way all week. We're going into a hostile environment. I've played in Greenville before. Great fan base, great student body. They're passionate fans, so we know it's going to be a tough place to play in conference, in division, against one of the best passing offenses in America. So, we understand the challenge, and we know we have to start fast.
Now, the thing that was very encouraging in that second half, when we look back at the fight that your team did show, being down 20-0 and then making it a game, was the offensive line was really starting to play some solid football, and you started to run the football. And we know that could be a big strength to your offense. Where's your confidence level that could continue going up against East Carolina?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've been really close to really breaking some big runs, whether we miss an ID or we, miss a single block. And it ends up being, catastrophic to the play. We felt it was coming, and that second half they put it together. They're all on the same page. We got the IDs. We got the points right. And I thought our running backs did a really good job hitting the holes violently and trusting their guys, trusting the guys up front, and really getting some movement. I think we had over 150 yards rushing in the second half, and we just need to put that together throughout an entire game for us to be, feel the way we really want to feel.
This was a championship team last year winning the AAC, and they lost a lot of imperative players to this program and some big-time leaders. And an Avery Williams, Philip Walker, Deion Dawkins, Hassan Reddick. I could go on and on and on about that team.
Hairston.
Nate Hairston, too, had a nice sack in that game up against Russell Wilson. So with all those guys being said, where's the leadership of this team at right now, and how are the guys feeling, even though they got off to a start that they did not want to have with this record?
Yeah, and I know so one of the guys told me this yesterday, the combined 3 losses are the 2 teams with combined records of 12-2. So there's some really good teams that we're playing at a high level. But I think our leadership, it starts with the single digits. It starts with the seniors, and they keep us fighting through the entire time. They do a great job out of practice, providing leadership in the locker room. We have a lot of players that are our first-year starters. They're gaining experience, getting better every single week. And, I've just been really pleased with the development of the guys, and the future's bright around here, especially the more and more these young kids play. It's only going to get better. And even some of our veterans haven't really started before. And so even though they haven't started, they're still they know how to fight. They know how to tough through some tough times and, have some setbacks against some really good opponents. We're taking them as learning lessons and are only getting better.
Talking to Geoff Collins right now, the head football coach at Temple. Temple gets ready to battle up against ECU on Saturday. Your quarterback play with Logan Marchese. Evaluate what you're seeing right now out of Logan.
Yeah, I thought he had a solid first 3 games. The entire team, kind of ran into a buzzsaw on ESPN on Thursday night against USF, against a really good football team. So it's hard to just blame the quarterback position for not having a great game against South Florida. But I thought we responded well as a team, responded well as an offense. Nobody turned their backs on each other. We just kept fighting together, staying together, and making sure we follow our process that's getting better every single day. Focus on our fundamentals, focus on our technique, control the things that we can control, and to ultimately be a really, really good football team that we're well on our way to being.
To start out the game, you guys had 1st and goal at the 7, and you eventually had to punt. Logan lost a lot of yards on 3rd down. When you review those 3 plays that led up to punting, what went wrong there?
Yeah, I mean, the frustrating series of events. We had opportunities to at least kick a field goal, got us out of field goal range. So those kind of things are learning lessons. The more Logan gets, playing time, situations come up in practice. He understands the mistake, and obviously none of these kids in this program ever want to do anything to hurt the team or jeopardize us being able to score points. And it's a learning lesson, to make sure it doesn't happen again. And once we get down inside scoring position, especially against a really good team in a single-score game, every point is precious.
With the amount of turnovers that he specifically has had in the last 2 weeks, 6 interceptions, will he be your quarterback on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, every single week is under evaluation, but every single player on this team is ours. Every quarterback that lines up in the cherry and white is ours. We're proud of all of them. They compete. They work together. They fight every single day for playing time. So we love every kid in this program. We want nothing but success for all of them. And, the best man, every single week at every position will get the most reps.
So what a player like a Todd Centeio or an Anthony Russo, 2 guys that the fan base, they keep on talking about, what do those 2 guys need to do if they want to get more reps into a game?
Yeah, same thing we do with every single kid in our program. The way they practice determines the amount of reps they're going to get, their attention to detail in the film study, in the practice field, in our meeting rooms. All of those things play into it, even things that happen off the field. Because we have a saying here: how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're a kid that goes to class, does great in his assignments, you're probably going to do that on the football field as well, perform at a high level. So we take everything in consideration so that we have the guys that earn every single thing that they get in this program.
Now, I know on the above-the-line chart, Anthony Russo is above the line. All 4 of your quarterbacks are above the line, according to the chart that you guys put out each and every week. Russo was a highly recruited kid. A lot of fans are very anxious to see him perform, and this has been for some time, but he's been playing behind PJ last year, so he wasn't going to get those reps and did redshirt. With Russo, are you surprised a little bit that he hasn't performed well enough in practice to get some starts here early on?
Yeah, I mean, it's just been a battle at every single position, and he actually, was played at a high level last week, but just the situation didn't put him in. Logan was moving the offense, and we decided to stay with that.
What are the things right now that you look at with Logan Marchese? We're talking to Geoff Collins, that you think he does really well as a quarterback?
Yeah, I think I thought we played at a much faster pace on Saturday. 2 weeks ago against South Florida, we were kind of, double cadencing. We were double calling a lot of plays. We were taking our time. But I thought last Saturday we played with a lot of tempo, and I think that suits his game a little bit more. Just make the calls, get the tempo going, playing fast. One-read throws. I think he does a great job. RPOs on the perimeter, and then the quarterback run game started doing a little bit of that with him as well. So, was pleased, and just like we do at every position, we want to get better every single week, not just in games but in practices as well.
Now, I recognize that Dave wasn't on the sidelines this past Saturday. He was up in the booth. What factored into that decision?
Yeah, we just thought that we knew we were going to go a little more tempo. We were going to pick up the pace, and he felt that it was easier for him to see from a top-down perspective, so that he could see the blitzes, he could see the coverage rotations, and he could help make the proper call so our guys could execute. Even cleaner. And I think the more he got into the flow of the game, he hadn't been up in the box for I think 8 years. So once he got settled in, and he was able to see everything very clearly, he was getting us to the right calls, the right checks, and we were able to execute at a high level.
Through the first 5 games of the season, sitting at 2-3, what are the things that he places a great deal of emphasis on to get this offense moving in the right direction right now?
Yeah, the number one thing we have to do is protect the football. Obviously, on defense, we want to be creating a lot more turnovers than we are. Obviously, that's a point of emphasis. Everywhere I've been, we've created a lot of turnovers. So we have to get that part on defense, creating more turnovers. But we got to protect the ball as well. In the games that we've won, we've created more turnovers, haven't given them up. In the games that we've lost, we've given the ball up more than we've gotten. So that's just a point of emphasis as a team, creating turnovers and protecting the football at all times.
I know you talked about it after the game, but just getting after to review the tape and letting it sit in for a little bit longer. On that final drive, you guys ran the football on 3rd and 10. Are you okay with doing that in that situation? Give me the thought process behind that.
Yeah, I mean, everything that we do is charted. We knew that we were in 4-down territory, so if we got down to 4th and 4, it was a go. We knew they were in soft coverage, so we had a chance to pop a run. So everything we do is calculated. It's game theory, and we want to put ourselves in the best possible position to break off some big runs or passes when we need it.
I know there's only so much you could say about the Zebras, and I did get to catch your conference call earlier today, and you sent in a few reviews, and I'll say it for you. The refereeing in that game was very questionable as we're talking to Geoff Collins. But one thing I didn't get, and maybe you could explain it to me, because when I'm watching the game on TV, it's a little bit different than the explanations that you get. There was a 10-second runoff for an injury that Houston had, but you guys were on offense. What did you get when you asked about that from the referees?
Yeah, well, it was a 2-minute before the half situation. There was only about 20 seconds on the clock initially anyway. We had 80 yards to go, and, we were just able to go into halftime, regroup, and we wanted to go in. It was a 2-score game. We knew we could, we didn't want to risk giving up another, touchdown or field goal on that. So I thought it was a good decision and a good situation for us.
All right, and before we let you run, as we're wrapping up with Geoff Collins, ECU, I know you touched upon that atmosphere a little bit in the opening of our conversation, but ECU as a football team, I know they're 1-4. This is a game you got to win. So what stands out to you about ECU that maybe presents some challenges?
Yeah, they're obviously a great passing offense, very multiple. The quarterback can get the ball out of his hands really quickly. They don't give up a lot of sacks. They've got some really dynamic receivers on the perimeter. So it's going to be a space game. So we've got to get off blocks in the perimeter. We've got to tackle in space. And then defensively, they change it up every single week to take away what offenses do the best. So we've got to figure out what their change-ups are for us this week and figure out ways to exploit them and to gain yards and score points and protect the football.
Hey, Geoff, just one more for you. 5 games into your coaching career, first time being a head coach. You've been around football forever, though, at some very prestigious programs. How do you look at this experience so far through the first 5 games, and how do you get better each and every day as a head coach and learn more?
Yeah, everything we do in this program, we try to tell the truth to each other, to ourselves, be very self-critical. And I've told the guys that every single week. I'm going to try to get better in everything that I do. And I expect the same from them. And so we point out some mistakes that the players are make. Just understand that we're being just as critical on ourselves because we all want to be successful. We all want to be great. We've played some really good opponents, and we've gotten better every single week. And so that's the future is very bright around here. The recruiting class that we're putting together, even though I can't talk about specifics,
sure,
is going to be special to add to these young players that are playing a lot of football for us. So the future is very, very bright. We're excited about it, and the present is as well. We're going to get better every single week.
Geoff, best of luck. We appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much, bud.
There's Geoff Collins, head football coach at Temple University. You look at the quarterback situation. because Logan Marchese, they think he's the best quarterback right now to be playing. That's what they keep on trotting him out there, and there's a reason behind that. Now, we get to see some of practice. We don't get to see all of practice. But when your quarterback has 6 interceptions in the last 2 games, just to me, like, it makes you wonder, how worse are the guys behind him. Now, Centeio, they're going to redshirt him. That's my belief. Newtile, I don't think there's a great difference between Frankie Newtile and Logan Marchese. But that big question is Anthony Russo. And Russo, we heard how great this kid was supposed to be and everything, and sometimes a kid just doesn't work out. But at this point, and maybe he's not ready to play, and he may not be practicing great, but why not give him a chance? Eventually, if this season keeps on going where you have poor quarterback play, eventually he's going to need to be given a chance. But this is a Temple football team that through the first 5 games of the season, they're disappointing. With the last 2 years, and you expected a drop-off after losing a coach like Matt Rule. I thought this team was a 7-win football team going into the year. But the 2 wins, they don't really excite you that much because they just got by Villanova and they just got by UMass. And both those games are at home. So this is a team, and I didn't think they were going to beat USF, but they got embarrassed by USF. I didn't think they were going to beat Notre Dame, but they got embarrassed by Notre Dame. The Houston game, I wasn't expecting a victory, but that was a winnable game. And now they have to put it together for 60 minutes. So they need to continue to block well offensively. And you did see once that offensive line gets clicking what they're capable of, especially with the run game with Armstead. But right now, you just can't go into these games and have a quarterback that has 3 interceptions. And some of these throws are just so off. And he could have more than 3 interceptions this past Saturday. You got to protect the football better. And special teams are good enough. And defense, they did lose some pieces, some big pieces last year, but they're playing well enough. It's just this offense right now. They are putting them in some tough situations. And the offensive coordinator has not looked good. We all know that. And I'm not someone that says, fire someone after 5 games. I just think that's ridiculous. You got to give it some time. But this offense needs to play better. And that's the bottom line. And this offense, they need to block better. They need to run the football better. And they need to have a quarterback that can get the ball to the wide receivers because they have a good wide receiving core. With Keith Kirkwood, Adonis Jennings, Vent O'Brien, Isaiah Wright. There are some good wide receivers on this team and some they have a lot of depth at wide receiver. But now it's about having a quarterback that can get them the ball. And some of these games, hey, it's not just a quarterback. And I know a lot of fans just like to look at the stats and say, oh, it's just a quarterback. A lot of these games, the protection has not been good. But then there's been some games and some quarters where there's been good enough protection and the quarterback misses on a lot of throws. So Logan Marchese, he doesn't do a lot for me. Nice kid, and I've known him for a while. But when I look at him as a football player, I don't think he's a good enough football player to be a starting quarterback. I just don't. And it makes you wonder, and I'm not saying Anthony Russo is going to be great because, people that I talk to, people that, see him a little bit more, he hasn't been great in practice. He hasn't. So there's a reason why he's not starting right now. But eventually you get to a point, if it continues this way, and Marchese continues their interceptions, and I've seen enough of Marchese, but eventually you get to a point where you say, all right, you got to make a change. You got to try something else. Because you got to have someone that can protect the football. And that's the key. You need to protect the football. You have to. And I hope that Marchese can turn around. If that could happen, great. But you can't have a touchdown to 6 interceptions from your quarterback in Logan Marchese in the last 2 games. You just can't do it. So we'll see what they adjust. We'll see if they make a change. And it doesn't seem like it's going to happen, but who knows? ECU is the game they should win. If they lose to ECU, this team is in big-time trouble for this year. You got some other games on the schedule. UConn team you should beat. Army, Navy, going to be tough. There's some tough games on this schedule remaining. There's no doubt about it. But you need to get back to 500 this week at 3-3 and defeat a team like ECU who has 1 win on the season. All right, let's take a break here. 609-919-9200. Zach Gelb Show, Fox Sports 920 The Jersey. When we come back, I'll give you my 3 stars from the Eagles game. We'll also talk some playoff baseball. 5:35 for the Princeton Orthopedic Associates Studios. We appreciate the head football coach at Temple University, Geoff Collins, for hopping on board with us. We're coming on back right after this.